Hello folks, welcome back to the Data Driven Prosperity channel. My name is Roy. Today we're going to be going over some of the home buying statistics and things are looking pretty bad. Now this article from CNBC, it's 2 months old, but it says that 64% of millennials have regrets about buying their current home. And they just go off into some information about why they're regretting their purchases. Look at here. So maintenance being too high is the most common reason. Then they say they bought too small of a house. They don't like their location. They didn't get the best of mortgage rates. Some even said they bought too big of a house. So the size in either direction. Then some complain about the mortgage payment being too high and that they've paid too much. So, being in a house is great, but if you're overpaying for a home and you're not doing the proper inspections, or you're kind of rushing into your purchase and you buy something already at the peak of the market and then find that you have a ton of maintenance, it's incredibly daunting of a task to manage. So here they talk mostly about plumbing. They used an example of this lady, Beth Holmes Roberts, and how they had to do a lot of plumbing work on their home. So it says home maintenance has been an ongoing challenge, Holmes Roberts says. Over the past 2 years, they've had a lot of plumbing work done, including fixing toilets and a bathtub that didn't drain properly. They also had to replace their entire garage door. All of the family's stimulus payments over the past year, more than $6,500, have gone toward home maintenance. In the 5 or so years that I've lived in my current house, I've had to replace 2 air conditioners. My house has 2 units, so I had to replace both of them. Then I also had to do patchwork on my roof because I had leaking. I've done a ton of maintenance just to keep it more fresh and more of a modern look. But the thing about, the house that I'm living in now, I was able to get a good deal on it because I knew the work that was going to be involved, and I was able to negotiate a good price that was below the market value so that I could afford to do the maintenance things. But when you look at the market today, buyers are in no position to really negotiate the kind of work that they need to get done, right? Like, so if you can estimate that you need about 10 grand of work, well, then you would just try to get that in a discount in the selling price or your purchase price. So this graph actually really shows what the problem is. It's called the days on the market. So, in the summer months, you've got the days of the markets go very quickly. So it's about 2 months that a house would typically be on the market in the summer. Right now, we're sitting at 39 days as of May. No, as of June 2021, it's 37 days on the market. So houses are flying fast. There's no way that these buyers are doing the due diligence that they need when purchasing the house that they're getting. That's going to be a very major warning sign coming ahead once the maintenance bills start coming due on all these homes that people are purchasing at such inflated values. Okay, to put it in perspective, this is the median sales price of a house. I mean, this peak right here was the housing bubble crash in 2008. And we are just way beyond sustainable. I mean, these are not sustainable prices. The only reason people can think they can afford it is because interest rates have gone down so much. But yeah, I mean, people are paying for a home over like almost 100 grand more than they were paying at the peak of the last housing bubble. So how do you think things are going to end right now? Okay, so here's a national housing survey. The Fannie Mae Home Purchase Sentiment Index, the HPSI, basically looks at the sentiment of whether it's a good time to buy a house or it's a good time to sell a house. I mean, whether you're buying or selling or you're renting, you can have an opinion, right? Whether this is a good time to buy, it's a good time to sell. So when people think that it's a good time to buy, it's good for the housing market. Now, what we're seeing now are very extreme levels where people believe that it's a good time to sell, but not a good time to buy. So here in black is the indicator of whether it's a good time to buy. And we've been in the 20% range since 2017. So sentiment for buying hasn't been that great. But look at the drop it's had. And now whether it is a good time to sell is just gone up through the roof. So what we're seeing now is when you take the difference of whether it's a good time to buy and you subtract the percent that thinks it's a good time to sell, we are at negative 94. Okay, when 2011 started, we were at 111 positive, and kind of at the 2015 2016 lull, we were just right at break even. So you can see how extreme sentiment has gone towards selling. People are buying houses like crazy. I mean, whenever they see it on the market, I mean, the days on the market for a home is so low, they're just buying it up, not knowing what kind of maintenance costs are going to be involved and whether it was the right size for them or anything like that. They're just buying it just because it's available, yet they recognize that it is a bad time to buy. With the eviction moratoriums, it's been incredibly hard to find places to rent. And being a renter is, I mean, just as it's hard being a landlord because you've got regulations against the landlords, but it's also hard to be a renter because it's incredibly hard to find stuff. So I can't necessarily blame them. So here is a chart called the federal surplus or deficit. And this is going way back all the way till the 1930s. And it's the federal surplus deficit as a percentage of this GDP. And our deficit right now has dropped to a point that we haven't seen since the 40s, okay, since World War II. This is going to be just even more of a burden on our economy. That's money that's being thrown into the system, into the supply, that's basically printed out of nowhere. So it's going to reduce the value of all money in circulation, therefore causing prices to start exploding. We're seeing crazy inflation. And again, going back to the housing regrets, the number one cause of housing regrets was maintenance on the home. I mean, 1 out of 5. So if the value of our money is continuing to decrease, maintenance on our homes are going to increase as well, right? The cost of paint, the cost of lumber, the cost of flooring, the cost of plumbing, everything is going to be going up. And this is just going to make especially newer buyers just very burdened. Essentially, if you're in the market to buy, I'm not a financial advisor, but trust your gut. If you feel like it is a bad time to buy and you're not sure about the costs or the house, whether it needs a lot of maintenance or not, or if you don't have time to do a proper inspection, then maybe it's time to just stay on the sidelines and wait things out. Anyways, I hope everybody is enjoying their day. Please like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.